The movie you're making me watch today is The Deer Hunter, 1978, directed by Michael Cimino. Schwartz,
You butchered that one.
what's the word?
I'm gonna go poetic.
That is a word. Shake.
Poetic's a good word. I'm gonna go with American.
My word is arduous.
Yeah, good one. Good one. That's a good
Okay.
one.
I think we have
That's the biggest word you've ever
words.
used.
Good words, guys.
Biggest word I've ever used. It's a technically kind of anyway.
I like how we're going into this really downer movie with positive attitudes. So good start, guys. Great words all around.
Arduous is not. I mean,
It's
I'm not saying that in a positive way.
You're not, but I like your tone.
Your tone.
I appreciate your tone is all I'm trying to say. Just trying to be stoked. Just trying to keep everyone stoked. We keep stoked on this podcast. God bless America.
It's not even a song I'm mouth.
Spoiler alert. That's how they end the movie. God bless America.
Oh my God. Well, okay.
Wait,
endings.
Wait. Let's wait to that.
You're right.
Okay.
Schwartz, what's this shit about?
What's this shit about, dude?
This movie is about 4 or 5
Hours.
friends. This is a 3-hour. This is a 3-hour 8-minute movie about 4 friends who you meet. They live in the steel land of fucking Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they live very blue collar lives, live in very mundane existences, but they're having a good time. They're always having fun. They're always drinking. They're happy people. They're young. There's a little love triangle going on between the 3 of them. There's some fat guys laughing. You know, it's a good time. And then
you mean George Zunza?
And then 3 of them go to Vietnam, and it all goes downhill from there. They all go crazy. They all have their own terrible things, and they get involved with the Russian roulette, which is like that's
shit was crazy.
Happened over there.
Yes, the Russian roulette scene was.
I mean, there was like 10 Russian roulette scenes.
But what I'm saying is that like people were saying that, like, I mean, obviously this movie's not based on a true story besides for anything of it is the Vietnam War that they were supposedly in, but everyone was like, there's no proof of them playing Russian roulette over there for money. There's no proof of that. And it's like, well, there's not proof of that. It's a fucking movie, you know? It's not
sure.
But
yeah.
That's a big controversy.
Oh, that's stupid.
I didn't feel any contrived by it.
Yeah.
It just showed the fucked upness of the war. That's really what it was.
That's what
I was trying to show.
That's what
fucked upness of the war, and the movie's about Russian roulette and what it does to Chris Walken.
The movie's about how war affects people in their own ways. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about this movie is it's a war movie that doesn't have much war in it. It's mostly takes place in these people's fucking houses and bars and in the middle of the woods. And it's a beautiful movie. It's shot fucking amazingly. It's
shot beautifully.
It's pretty great. The performances are hard, like they're hard hitting. That's the key to the movie. De Niro's great. Christopher Walken was awesome, especially in the war scenes and the Russian roulette scenes. Like he deserved the Oscar. I thought he was good.
He won an Oscar for it. He won an Oscar for it. I feel like there wasn't enough of him to necessitate an Oscar.
That's supporting actor Oscar.
Yeah, he won supporting actor. Yeah. So it also won Best Picture, Best Screenplay, and Best Director, and Best Sound Editing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
cleaned up.
Yeah. There's a couple interesting things about this movie that I liked this movie. I thought it's like an art house war movie. It's like just an artistic war movie. I thought it was really well made, but at the same time, there were times where I was fucking bored out of my mind. I was just like, I don't give a fuck about these people fucking singing in their fucking bars and playing piano. Like, I get that they were really good friends and that they had great lives and all that, but if they would have cut that beginning hour of them, that character development, to like 20 minutes and spent a little bit, because spent a little bit more time in the war, I think it would have benefited the movie greatly. Like, I like the movie and I think it's a great movie, but it wasn't as good as I remember it being, nor as I thought it was gonna be. Like, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was gonna do.
I feel you. Let me address that, because I agree with you on all that stuff.
Address it, baby.
I see why they kind of did it, because I think the best parts of the movie were truly the Vietnam scenes, and they were the most gripping, their most intense scenes. But that was the least part of the movie. This was like three big movies almost in one. It was there was pre-war, war, and post-war, if we want to be like cut and dry about it. And I think the reason that we like stayed with them for so long in like the beginning, like that wedding scene was like fucking way too long. But I kind of get why they did it. Like they were humanizing everyone to a T. They were trying to put you in their positions. It was trying to get you. It was a very immersive film. It was very so I see why he did that with that just letting them, like, the people breathe, like letting them, like, truly, this is how they were before and this is how they were after, and that's really what they focused on.
And I get that, and I think that's a smart way to do a war movie. Do it in a way that's really no one's done it like that before, which is cool. And it's actually Full Metal Jacket kind of did that. Like Full Metal Jacket did the same type of thing. That's two movies in one. The first half was fucking comedy, honestly. I laughed my ass off the first half of that movie.
Dark comedy, sure.
Yeah, but it's funny. The only thing I have to say, like, I get what you're saying with that, but I guess my thing is that there was a lot of people just staring at each other. There was a lot of people just looking off, and the music was just decadent. Like, and I get that what they were doing, but at the same time, that's kind of boring. It was just kind of boring.
Absolutely. I think there's could be an argument to say that this movie had one exciting scene or one enjoyable scene. In a way.
Well, this is the thing too, and I like the movie.
When Christopher Walken blows his brains out.
That's a great scene.
That one and the one where they could have blown their brains out. I really love the Vietnam shit.
Yeah.
Like that whole sequence of them in Vietnam was so intense and so gripping and so well acted. Like everything about that shit was wild to me. Yeah. And I was like truly in for that shit. But like that was like an hour into the movie. And then after that there was like another hour and a half left. But
I thought that scene was pretty incredible, and I liked that way they cut to that. Like it was sudden, which was awesome. I love that. Mm-hmm. It's just the first hour. Like I feel like you could have done all that, and I still would have felt the same way if it was 20 minutes shorter than it was. Like I feel like I still was engrossed. Like I get it. Like these people they enjoy their life. They're happy. They live a hard working class life, but they enjoy it. They're having a good time. And then all of a sudden it's like you see true colors come out. I mean, like De Niro's character was a fucking G, man. That dude he was too cool for school. He under pressure, he didn't bend at all. Like and my biggest thing with this movie is this. So, and I don't know if I followed it wrong, but all right, so there comes the scene where Christopher Walken, when you find out he's alive and he's in the GI hospital, whatever, is chilling, like looking like he's resting, and then he goes out and he stumbles upon the game being played of the Russian roulette, and it seems like he's there for the first time, right? He meets that guy and he goes in there, but De Niro is there. De Niro's there at that time. Now, is that after he found out about it, when he went to the hospital and found his friend with all the money, or was he already looking for him, thinking he was there, left, and then went back the second time? How did that work?
I think that was I think that was like right after they got injured, right after the dude that got his legs cut off got fucked up.
Yeah.
I think that was like right after that time.
So you think none of them had left at all yet? They were all still there.
Yeah, I think they were just still there.
Okay, that's what I was confused about.
Because they did that a lot, where they kind of just came across each other in Vietnam, like, or even in the very when they first were in Vietnam, or in the first scene of Vietnam, Robert De Niro's laying there and fucking lighting people on fire, and homeboy comes in on the helicopter. They're just like, "Oh, hey, what's up, dude?" And he's like, "No time to argue. Let's continue this mission."
Yeah, that was weird. They just kind of found each other and then suddenly cut to they were captured. I wish they would have shown more of that, like them getting captured. Like I think you said, like more of Vietnam would have been appreciated.
Yeah,
I think the point was how it affected the characters. I think the characters was the main point of the movie. That's why they didn't spend as much time in Vietnam.
Exactly. This movie was more about what was happening after, not when they were there. Yeah,
exactly. But fuck, like the Vietnam stuff was great, and I wish we could have lived there a little bit longer.
It was crazy.
I think the Meryl Streep stuff was some of the most confusing acting I've ever seen in my life. Like Like I get,
It was there was a very little of her. Number one, I was expecting like this like crazy performance from Meryl Streep, and
this was her
two,
first like breakout role.
But there was no. I mean, there was not enough. There wasn't enough of her in it for me to care.
Yeah, she got that Oscar nom though. There was, I think,
for this
first Oscar. Yeah. Yeah, her and De Niro both got nominated. There was lots of nominations all around.
Yeah, no, this movie. I mean, this came out at a time too when the Vietnam War was like fresh, and the way this was, it wasn't just about people getting blown up in the fucking thing. It was about the mental effects it does to you. And that's what this movie is at heart. Yeah. Like the thing is that why I say it's an art house movie is because the fucking soundtrack is just ridiculous. Like I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm saying it fits, but there's sometimes where I'm just like, can you please shut the fuck up? Like there are times when the people are just like walking around and like looking at each other. And I was like, you got to stop it with this music. I was like, it's got to stop.
Were they pulling too much at your heartstrings? So your
heartstrings
all worn out?
It was like sensory overload. Like I feel like he could have just accomplished it without the fucking dramatic music. The visuals were enough. Like there were some parts where the visuals were just enough.
The visuals were the best part of this movie.
Yeah, they were great. And the performances, like Christopher Walken was great in the scenes he was in, and De Niro was really good too. And John Caviezel, we can't think about him, or John Cazale, or this was his last movie before he died. He shot this movie with having lung cancer.
John Cazelle's got one fucking ugly look, doesn't he?
He was like dying too. He was like dying as they were shooting this.
Bro, how good of a career is that though? He made 5 movies. All 5 got nominated for Best Picture. 3 of those fuckers won Best Picture. And we've won all 3 of the movies that we've reviewed on this podcast that have won Best Picture. John Cazelle's been in all 3 of them.
That's awesome.
That's interesting.
He's got cool. One fucking look though. You go look at every movie. He's got one fucking 5-head look.
Mr. Forehead, Weasley dude, weird guy, for sure. That's his look.
Yeah,
I mean, he was hooking up with Meryl Streep at the end. When he died, he was with Meryl Streep.
Yeah, yeah. I also read that when they found out that that he had cancer, they didn't want to like insure him, so they tried to replace him. So De Niro was like, "I'll pay for his fucking insurance." He's, "I'll pay for it the whole time."
Yeah. I heard like Meryl Streep was gonna like quit the movie, and a bunch of people were like stood up for him on the movie, like because they didn't want to. Once they found out, they're like, "Oh, we
supposedly he's like a really nice person too."
I'll give him the money.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, and this is at a time in Robert De Niro's career where he was like paving the way for himself. Like he was really involved in everything. Like he was becoming who he is. You know what I mean? This is like after Godfather 2, he won an Oscar, so he was just like kind of going crazy.
This has to be one of his first like leads, because he was the man in this movie for sure.
Yeah, he was the man. He was cool as fuck.
He was badass as hell. Like he was great.
He only had one outfit,
and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't
dress fucking army attire.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he went vegan at the end, so that was pretty rad.
Well, yeah, that's the whole other thing. It's like I feel like this movie was all about like them being so like macho and so like sure of everything about themselves, and they went to war and they realized that everything that they thought and everything that they thought they were is not what it is. And like that was kind of interesting.
Right. Well, here's what was interesting, because I think part of the reason, like the setup for him, was like he was the best hunter of the group, and hunting was a big thing with that group. But he was the best one. He was the most like not ruthless. He was actually the most humane, because he was always about the one shot thing. Like the one shot was what mattered. And he killed the deer at the end in the beginning, so he like had that like kind of had him in him, like he understood life. He understood like the value of life, and like what taking it meant, what saving it meant. And I think him going through war maybe changed him in the fact like there was the deer at the end that he purposely missed, and then I think he muttered, "I'm never going to eat meat again. Everyone should be vegan." The end.
I think he muttered, "Okay," like he understands that he's not just supposed to kill things for the sport of it. I think that's what that was more about.
Okay, maybe I read into it a little bit, but I think that's just
he
something
just didn't want to take that one.
There was always something like the value of life with him. Like,
well, that's what it was.
He killed too much.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't saying that he's going to go vegan. He was just saying he's not going to shoot shit anymore for the sake of just killing it. He's over that. That's what we're saying.
But he might have gone vegan.
Maybe he went vegan.
He might have gone vegan.
Might have gone vegan.
Obviously
not for Raging Bull though. A couple years later, he could have done vegan.
That scene.
Yeah, you can't be that strong and be vegan.
Hey, the strongest person in the world is vegan.
That's a lie.
Watch Game Changers.
That's a lie.
Look it up.
There's no way
I've seen that.
Not a lie.
It's true. It's real. The guy that's lifted the most weight and set the most records for weight is vegan. I forgot his name.
Set the most records for weight? That's not the strongest man in the world.
Well, like lifting the most weight.
He's lift the heaviest amount of weight.
I guess like
deadlift.
I think so. I don't know my specific facts. But the guy who has a
heaviest deadlift.
Of,
I feel like the deadlift is the thing that people brag about the most.
Now I can't confirm that it was exactly the deadlift, but it was a bunch of random feats of strength that this dude did. That he was considered the strongest man in the world. I think that's literally
by a bunch of vegans.
No, by like a weightlifting. That's like a weightlifting competition. Is the world's strongest man, and he won the competition.
In his in his weight class or what? He's the world's strongest man.
I don't know the details.
There's only one weight class for that.
But essentially, it's whoever can lift the most of these weights, and he did, and he's vegan. So
no, I've seen that doc. Doc.
Schwartz can even agree with me. That rarely happens.
Was he a vegan when he won the award, or when he won the strongest?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't believe it.
Anyway,
you're super strong, dude. Trust me.
I also
believe he's very strong. He's probably stronger than me.
All right, Schwartz? What do you think about De Niro becoming a vegan? Go ahead. You're about to say.
I think De Niro's character is pretty interesting, just too because of like that scene when they decide they're gonna fucking try to escape and get more bullets in the gun. That was definitely the best scene in the movie. That scene was the most gripping. That scene is the most like when he shoots him and they somehow get out of that. I was like, damn, that was pretty wild.
That was pretty cool. He's like, are we gonna fucking do this, or are we not gonna fucking do this?
Yeah,
we're either gonna die, or the fact that they had to keep going. He's like, play the game until like we're good. You know, he's like, okay, how long are we gonna be doing this?
Yeah, De Niro was so fucking crazy in that scene. It was so good in that scene.
And I read that like they were actually slapping each other. Like that was real slapping. Like that was all real.
And I heard that wasn't in the script. It's like something Cimino or Camino told them to do, told those actors to do on the day of. And I don't know if it was communicated to De Niro and Walken, or they just started slapping him and pissing him off.
Yeah, but De Niro's pretty close to a method actor, so he probably loved that shit. Like back in the day, he was pretty close. Not quite, but pretty close. I read that in the scene in the end when he goes to get him, when he goes to get Christopher Walken and he like doesn't recognize him and Christopher Walken spits in his face. That was Michael Cimino was like, yo, and this next one spit in his face.
Yeah,
and he really did it. And like, so I guess De Niro, like after they cut, like stormed off set and was like, I'm gonna fucking fight Cimino. Shit.
Another crazy.
I was watching that and I was thinking for sure that he just really like at this time, those guys for sure he just spit in his face.
Those guys were coming up.
I figured it was planned. I didn't know that he didn't know about it.
Yeah, they're trying to get off. Like,
and then I guess someone asked Cimino about that, and like in a post interview, and his response was, "Yeah, Christopher Walken's brave," meaning that like he actually was willing to spit into someone's face. You know what I mean? That's pretty hardcore.
Another because it's a pretty scummy move.
You know, De Niro at the end though was like, I would have done the same thing.
Another crazy thing I heard about the torture scene or whatever, the Russian roulette scene, is when they threw Stevie into the pit. Like there were like real rats in there, and there's like one shot where like the rat like crawls on the Stevie guy, and he's like, Michael, there's rats. He was yelling at Michael, the director, not Michael, the character.
I read that.
So like just there's some fucking realness in this movie that's just like pretty insane.
For sure.
Just everything about that scene was
it's
so
like Tropic
good.
Thunder, dude.
Everything
at the
about that scene
I
was
expected him to go, I'm a rooster illusion.
Yeah. And just like how that whole thing was set up, and like how it was visually like they're below, they're here, like you could see the fucking pit back there in the background when like the blood comes like dripping down on them because they're below it. Like it's everything, like how that whole thing was set up was just fucking
the DP was Vilmos Zsigmond, who was actually he's a pretty famous DP. He's one of the all-time greats. He won an Oscar for Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, Vigos?
Yeah, Vilmos.
He's a vegan.
Vilmos Zsigmond, I think is his name. He's
Vilmos the vegan.
Dude, I'm pretty sure. Anyway,
vegan.
Kosher vegan word.
He's done a lot of good shit, but like
Jewish,
all the fucking hunting
really.
scenes and everything, just a wide landscape shots. Like it looked like a painting, man. It was absolutely fucking beautiful.
Especially when they were up like hunting, the
man.
shots of the reflection on the lake, and
Yeah,
there were some very beautiful shots, but they lingered. This movie lingered on a lot of things,
but it's supposed to. It's supposed to. Okay. It's like the key. Like Drake was saying, it's all about character development. It was like they want to put you with them. They want you to be like, they almost want to give you too much so that you're just like so enthralled, and then boom, something else. Like that's what they were trying to do.
Were they actually hunting in Pennsylvania, or where the fuck was this film? Because that looked fucking gorgeous.
It was filmed in Pennsylvania.
I thought they were in Russia.
No, it was filmed in Pennsylvania.
It looked like Canada, man. Like I didn't realize Pennsylvania had those kind of mountains.
It does.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Pennsylvania's a big state. It's pretty big. Yeah. It's not as big as California, but it's like almost.
Right. I know I've driven through it a couple of times, but maybe just in not the right areas, apparently, because I haven't seen those gorgeous ass mountains.
It's all a lie, dude. That shit was shot in Norway.
It looks more like Norway to Pennsylvania.
No, so those steel wheels are like real steel mills. They had to get permission to shoot like in them. Like they actually shot all that shit. Like those shots are pretty crazy too.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm sure he
had to steal those shots.
A very authentic everything, because that this movie just felt that way. It just felt so.
Well, so do you know like the legend of this dude? Like he made this movie and it like won him the Oscar, and he pretty much was like, you can do whatever you want, like whatever you want to do. And then he made a movie called Heaven's Gate after this, which like ended up going like super over budget, super fucking over time of like shooting, and it didn't do well at all. People called it like really pretentious, and then he didn't get to do a movie for a long time, and he made like 3 or 4 movies after that, but nothing that ever really lived up to this. But he was like one of the first people, like filmmakers, that ever like bankrupted a studio. Like the studio that produced it, like went bankrupt because his movie failed so bad.
That shit was like 5 hours too.
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours.
No, I think there's legitimately like a 5-hour cut.
Probably. I don't know.
There's like a 3.5 like release, and then there's like a 5-hour.
I attempted to watch it one time because it was on the Criterion channel, and I'm pretty sure like 45 minutes in, I was just like, I can't.
Yeah, it's probably trash. That's too bad.
It's not that it's trash. It's just like it's so drawn out. Like it's just drawn out. Like it's slow, and it's like it looks great, and it's got a vibe. I just don't give a fuck.
He just went harder, like his Deer Hunter vibe. He just went harder on that. I'm gonna go with everything in real time, because there was like a wedding in real time and a funeral in real time in this fucking movie. So he's like, I'm gonna go. It was a Western.
He like
right?
makes art house.
It was good because it had solid talent in it.
Yeah.
And they were like coming up.
Cinematography, and the actors were coming up, and including cinematography, and they were shooting in fucking beautiful places.
Yeah.
And the story was okay. It was cool, but it was the performances and the just visuals that was I think the best part of the whole movie.
I feel like the performances were so good though that like you felt like you were like hanging out with them. Like I liked that. I felt
like I was hanging out, but also like 2.5 hours in, I was like, "Fuck, how long?"
Yes, that's the thing. If this movie was 45 minutes less, I feel like it would be one of the greatest movies of all time. Let's take 45 minutes out of the beginning, and I'm in. And it'd be great.
Let's get on Sony Vegas Video. We'll cut 45 minutes out this weekend.
It would have been dope to see more Christopher Walken like killing the circuit and never dying and becoming like the fucking guru,
the famous white guy.
Oh yeah,
shit. Like that would have been awesome. That would have been great.
So he's just survived how long over there? Just
probably like a year.
Just gun to head every time. Never.
Yeah.
Well, it's not
the other guy just dies first. It's like
and he got
it's crazy because De Niro like went back there for him too. He didn't leave him. Like he really did go back for him.
He promised him.
Yeah.
He promised him at the beginning when they were drunk. He said, "Don't leave me, man. I'm serious. Don't leave me, man."
I think like Apocalypse Now, which just came out a year before Apocalypse Now came out. It was more of a visceral Vietnam movie. Like it wasn't just trying to show you war. It was trying to show you like obviously the horrors that it does to the mind, the way it affects people, and Apocalypse Now Apocalypse Now took it even further and like went like super like, all right, now we're gonna give him a fucking mission where he's got to kill this general, and it made it much more like a movie. Where this was like just like this was almost like a home video of people's lives, just told like really well.
Apocalypse Now is like De Niro going back for Nikki.
Exactly.
And that, except it's a little crazier. And Nikki. Now, is the end of Tropic Thunder based kind of on
like
this?
What?
Who would you say?
Say that again?
Is the end of Tropic Thunder based on this a little bit? When he goes in and he goes, "I'm a rooster illusion." I think he even has a red bandana on.
Oh, for sure. 100%. I mean, this is just as iconic as Apocalypse Now and then fucking all those movies.
Pretty great.
Yeah. This is a good movie. It's an art house movie, man.
It's a good movie.
It's like it's artistic as shit. It's
no
like
one's arguing
super
that
artistic.
it's a good movie. I think we all agree that it's just a little too long. Lingers a little bit.
Have you guys ever seen or heard of Coming Home? It was another Vietnam movie that came out the same year.
Directed by Matt Schwartz. Oh, no, that's Welcome Home.
No, it was actually directed by Hal Ashby, the same person that did Harold and Maude. So I want to check this shit out. But I can't find it on any fucking streamer. It's not even on Amazon. I can't even buy it. So I don't know. I haven't found it yet. But it's the same year as this, same idea. It's like a guy coming back from the Vietnam War. It almost seems like it's more on the Stevie story. Like if the character of Stevie was a movie.
I honestly don't want to watch that. That was the most depressing part of the fucking movie.
It certainly was. But it was a good story, and I think Hal Ashby was a really great director, so it'd be cool to see.
Lieutenant Dan Ice Cream.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
No, I think this definitely rates up there with like the good Vietnam movies, the ones that you remember. But I tell you what I won't do. I won't go as far as to say this is on like AFI's list of 100 greatest movies ever made, and I don't know if I would put it on that list.
It's got an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
I know, and I think it's because of when it was made. It hit pretty hard, and I get that. And it was made by like a film kind of came out of nowhere. These actors were on the come up, like Christopher Walken and fucking De Niro got Meryl Streep the job by seeing her in a play in New York City. He was like, "Yo, this chick should be in the movie," and he got her a gig.
I see this movie why it's considered one of the best of all time for sure. I see it.
Operatic.
It's hard. I didn't. It's hard to enjoy because it's so fucking
boring,
like depressing, and it's slow at times. But
slow.
It was fucking great. It's a fucking great movie.
It's just not one of those movies that you watch. Like there's movies that you watch that you're 3 hours in and you're like, holy shit, I can't believe it was 3 hours. Like that movie was so good. This is not one of those. This is one that every now and then I was just like, let me see how much longer. Okay, we got 2 hours left. They just got to Nam. Yeah, cool. He's back from Nam. He's with the girl now. Okay, cool. Oh, there's an hour left.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see Christopher Walken again at some point?
Sure. If it was a half hour less, it would be still a great fucking movie. But
I think
it's a great movie.
Oh, better. Christopher Walken. I could have used more of him, and man, he was skinny and kind of feminine looking, but I liked it.
He had a look to him. He had that crazy look.
That crazy, his hair. His hair is weird. I'm just jealous, I guess. Are we gonna say Schwiz?
I think that, like I keep saying, but to the point, it's like a very art house movie made on a subject that affect a lot of people. So I can see why people like this movie. And like Jake's saying, it is a good movie. It's just a movie that's kind of hard to enjoy. Like it's just not very enjoyable. Like you enjoy the theatrics, you enjoy the operatic quality, but as far as what you're watching, it's not enjoyable. It's just so down. Everybody's just so down, and that's what it's supposed to do. I guess it is an American classic. People say it's an American. All right, whatever. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. This is the thing. It's going to go pretty high on my list because I'm thinking about it's why Godfather's number one. It's just because of what it was and what it did and how it was made, who it was made by. Like I feel like this is in that category actually too. So this is going to go pretty high on my list.
I think we all agree. Good movie. Could have used a little. Could cut out a little bit of the lingerage. There was times where I was like, this is a beautiful shot. And then like 10, 15 seconds later, it was the same shot. I was like, it's still a beautiful shot. It's just lingering a little bit.
Yeah, I remember one specific one when they pulled off to the side of the road to take a piss. And it was just it was a wide shot from the woods. And then they all pissed, took that time. Then they got back in the car, except the one guy. And then he ran up the road, and it just panned over. And they just held that and just fucked with them.
Until the car backed all the way back
And then
up.
it was like, that was like a I don't know, like 4 minute sequence of like, why did they just do that?
Button it up,
I think it's because they just want to drag it along a little too far, so that you almost feel like that, like you get more of than you he's like shoving it in your face of who these people are and how happy they are, and like, because like who laughs as long as they do? You know what I mean? Like, their guys are laughing like even like when De Niro comes home and they go bowling and the fat guy dives into the fucking bowling alley thing, and like they all jump in there, but like as they're pulling them out, like they all start to laugh like, oh, this is just Billy, he's the funniest guy. Like, I feel like the sentimentality was just being shoved in your face.
It's the heavy. It was a hard approach to be relatable. Like that, because with that scene I just explained, that would be something that's probably happened to me or us or sure, you know, relative to us. So I get why they did that.
I also think
like
in
relatable, but geez, that was seemed unnecessary.
Michael Cimino, button it up.
I think in '78, that wasn't really a thing in movies though either. Like, you didn't see that a lot. So people like seeing that, like the fact that they lingered on it and the fact that there was so much of it and then it changed. It's like Full Metal Jacket. Like, if you've never seen Full Metal Jacket, you're expecting the whole time like this is gonna be a war movie, and like an hour in, you're like, all right, well, they're still in camp, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's just done. You know what I mean? It switches. But I guess the difference is it stays there. It stays there the whole time. It doesn't go back and forth like this one does.
Here was a funny comparison I thought of while watching too. Like the wedding scene, it was so fucking long, and I'm like, this is like the Godfather wedding scene, but like not dramatic. But like there's Russian. No like there weren't stakes to there weren't like cutting to badass Godfather gangster shit. They were just hung out at the wedding with random guests.
They just kept picking people up and doing that Russian dance where you like squat down and do the foot thing.
Yeah. It took me a while to figure out what was going on. And what culture
was going on? Did we learn anything at that? Or we just kind of watched? I mean, we watched De Niro just kind of creep around and look at people and be like,
right.
Oh yeah, let's address that. Okay, what was with the Meryl Streep, De Niro, Christopher Walken thing? Like, so in the beginning, I thought she was always with De Niro, and then I found out she was with him, and then De Niro wanted her again. Like,
well,
what was up
in the
with
very beginning, she was like hitting on Christopher Walken, and then Christopher Walken pushes her off to De Niro, and then they're dancing all night. And then they kind of hit it off. But then Christopher Walken asked her to marry him.
Yeah.
She says yes.
Nowhere.
And then Christopher Walken doesn't come back from the war. And she's sad, but she's then hooking up with De Niro, whatever.
Oh, I think
Pearl Harbor style.
Walken and Streep were already a couple. Like, that was already a thing. But but I think De Niro had a thing
Michael
for
Bay style.
De Niro had a thing for
Josh
Streep the whole
Hartnett
time.
comes back. Spoiler.
No, this is the thing. I think what it was is
Michael Bay.
I think they're supposed to be pretty young, so I don't think there's like a actual set thing. I think you just saw like everything they went through. I think literally it was like she was in the both of them, and whatever one happened first was gonna happen.
I'm pretty sure Streep and Walken were together.
Streep and Walken were together.
Well, they definitely were getting married.
Yeah, and then but De Niro had a crush on her. That's it. Like, De Niro had a thing for Streep.
He kept her a picture of her in a wallet.
And that was his home. It was his homie's girl.
He never banged her though. He never banged her. Good
for him. He kept that wallet up his ass.
It was his homie's girl. He was a good dude.
He was a good dude. He was a stand-up guy.
I think that's what it was.
You know who wasn't a stand-up guy? Stevie.
That's terrible.
So what was his legs? Was he like just on his knees, like inside that wheelchair? You think?
So,
or was that guy really a pair of no legs?
No, that
he cut him off. No. He cut him off thinking he'd get the Oscar, and he didn't win.
He's so method.
Cut him off.
He didn't win the Oscar though, and
that's fucking won it. He
method
AF, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it's just a good movie.
Lieutenant Dan.
Where do you guys rate it? Like, rank it?
Zemeckis.
Well, do we have more to say? Is there more to say?
More to say?
Jake, I know you got something you haven't said. You like this movie. I think you enjoyed this movie.
I did enjoy this movie. But it is interesting with the ranking because I'm not totally sure because it's not one of the movies I would watch.
Jake,
I would want to necessarily watch again. But
you enjoyed this movie on a scale of, let's say, like 1 to 58. How would you rank it?
Like 1 to 50, probably like 47.
What? That low?
Interesting. Out of 58?
Wow.
47 out of 58 is not bad.
Oh, okay.
That's like 8. I think it would be like 7 or 8 on a to 10 scale, which is a regular scale.
Is it? I don't know. I think you just made that up, but I'm not going to argue with you.
I know where I got mine.
All right. What you got?
Hold on.
What movie are we talking about?
I thought we knew.
Michael Cimino.
Michael Cimino's The Deer Hunter.
All right, I got mine. I'm putting it at 17.
Okay.
Right below Indiana Jones, right under Indiana Jones. And right above Once Upon a Time in the West.
Gotta be you. Jake, you got a spiggity spot?
Not yet.
I got a spot. It's number 36. 36 below MacGruber.
I hate this movie.
Dude, Anthony, fix that. Go like 16 or something.
Don't you tell me what to do, Schwartz.
You can't do this. This is blasphemy.
What are you talking about? Let me see. Let me see what I've done.
You put it under MacGruber. The movie that your idol, Christopher Walken, won his Oscar for, you put under MacGruber.
My idol? Who idolizes?
Yeah, you want to be Christopher Walken. If you could be Christopher Walken, you would be.
That doesn't mean I idolize him.
You idolize him, dude. I've seen it.
If somehow I could be Christopher Walken for a day, I would totally do it.
10 years. 10 years, you got to do it.
I would have to do it for 10 years. There's no lower. No. I'd do it.
But you can pick. Is
he going to be alive?
For what?
I could pick like what year Christopher Walken.
You get to pick any part of his life. You can pick the 10 years of his life if you want.
This period. Skinny,
what was
weird
the question?
Christopher Walken. That's what I want to be.
What was the question?
Kind of just before he went all.
What decade of Walken you would be?
Yeah, you can be 10. You can be 10 years of him. You can pick.
Actually, I don't know. I will maybe right after this.
I would say like 90s Walken. He's probably like 40, killing it, slanging dick.
What year was this made? 78. 78. All right. So I'm going to go, 88 Walken. That's when I was born. I'm going to just go right there. If I was born right into Walken's body in 88.
Yeah, that's a good time.
I think that's a good year because you
would have made Pulp Fiction. You would have had that great part in Pulp Fiction.
Whatever 1988 movie made.
Up his ass.
Probably slanging,
Has he already done the Fat Boy Slim video?
That's way later.
That was my kind of initial thought was, when did he do the Fat Boy Slim videos? And that's kind of when I think I would want to maybe be Walken. If 90s. Pulp Fiction I wonder if Pulp Fiction 90s. And Fat Boy Slim were in the same decade, so that would have been 90s.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah,
like late 90s, I think that was 99, okay. Maybe 2000.
I was thinking it might have been early 2000s because I don't really remember.
So go from 95 to 05. There you go, or 94 to 04. That's definitely Pulp Fiction. Definitely that.
I'll go 94 to 04.
88.
There you go. That's
perfect. Okay,
88
that's perfect.
To 98, I'm in.
So I'd essentially would have been Walken in my high school days. So that's perfect.
Dope.
Experience the golden days from Walken's perspectives.
Anyway, all right, where are you putting this, Jake? You putting it at number 14?
That was a weird fucking tangent. Yeah, I went 14. I was initially didn't think I was gonna go this high, but the more we talked about it, I think it was one of those I realized I liked more than I thought I did. 14.
I don't know. I might raise it a little bit, but I think I'd rather at this point I'd rather watch MacGruber over again than sit through 3 hours of Deer Hunter.
Yeah. Probably not. Yeah, because it is tricky because I wouldn't really watch this much again. But It's a damn good movie.
This movie does not make me laugh as much as MacGruber.
No. I was originally wasn't sure if I was gonna put it above like The Goonies and They Live, because those movies like entertain me much more. But I don't know. I gotta give this movie a lot of props.
They Live was a fun movie.
Anthony, you should definitely raise your thing by at least 10 notches minimum.
10, so, you know. 10K M's?
Yeah.
You spell notch with a K? No.
Either way.
I don't think so.
Did you guys have a favorite scene?
I'm pretty happy with 36. My favorite scene was the end.
The end. The end scene when they were singing "God Bless America."
No, the funeral end scene when Walken blows his brains out. That's what I mean.
Okay,
you're right. The end, the worst. It probably ends just as good as Rebel Without a Cause, which was bad.
I think the escape scene is the best scene.
Yeah, that whole sequence. Even from him breaking his legs and that helicopter, all that shit. Yeah. It was wild.
That whole like 15 minutes.
Everything that was in Vietnam was just so intense.
I liked like seeing that guy who like Walken met and like ran it all too, like that sleazy American or sleazy European guy. Because that like just goes into like the
German dude
thing to where they're just fucking like they're just people doing this, you know, making money off of people dying. Like that's I like dark things like that. Like that's interesting. As fucked up as it is, it's like super interesting. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah. And even there's definitely some of that shit going on over there for sure.
Hell yeah.
And there was another scene in Vietnam with Walken in the hospital. Yeah. Where, like, they were talking to him where he like breaks down. That was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Good acting. Could have won the Oscar for that scene alone, maybe.
I don't remember that one.
The one where he was like sitting on a ledge and first like they started just asking him questions. And he just got all like distraught.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's whatever, dude.
It was one of those that they were just sitting with him though. It was just one of those scenes.
I'm going The Hunted is better than Deer Hunter.
The Hunted. What's that?
I don't agree with that.
It's a different movie.
I don't agree with that, but The Hunted is a pretty solid flick. The Tommy Lee Jones, Benicio del Toro movie, William Friedkin. It's about like a trainer of killers has to hunt down a killer he trained.
Hell yeah. Good movie. Who directed that? Movie.
William Friedkin. He did The Exorcist.
Let's do one of those. Let's do one of those dudes' movies.
We should do Cruising.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, you guys would be in for it for that. It's interesting one.
Hours long.
I had to watch it as soon as I heard what it was about. I was like, I need to watch.
All right, I don't even want to know what it's about.
It's about.
No, don't tell me. I'm not going to even look at anything.
All right.
Where is it? Where can we find it? Should we watch that?
I bought it on Amazon.
Jake, would you be down to?
Listen, I saw who was in it. I bought it.
I don't think that'll be our next one.
No.
We can do that later.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
Anthony, you could pick it next after this next movie. It could be your pick.
What's the next one, Jake?
Magnolia, right?
I think I was gonna go Magnolia if we wanted to go that route. You'd have to rent it though.
I own it.
Okay.
I
already looked,
and I'll buy it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I gotta go Magnolia, and we'll figure out the dates once we wrap up this here episode. If we have anything else to say about Deer Hunter,
next
watch this movie.
Magnolia. Watch Deer Hunter.
Yeah, this movie's great. You might not want to watch it again after you watch it one time, but the first time watching it, you should. It's a pretty solid flick.
If you like feelings.
Well, thank you very much again for listening to another episode of Making Me Watch Movies. Next week's movie is a Paul Thomas Anderson classic, 1999's Magnolia. Watch that, will ya, on Amazon Prime. Then listen to us, will ya, on Spotify or wherever you get podcasts. In the meantime, I'm going to go watch that documentary and see if the world's strongest man is in fact vegan. Tune in next week to see if I've turned vegan.
Shout out to the big cat.